Hello everyone, here I am to take a class for standard 10 and this is the topic what I am going to do today. That is what you can see on the screen. Students, in this topic for geography, this will be your second topic of 10 marks in section 2, that is in the optional section. So this entire topic has weightage of 10 marks. Okay, now here what you can see on the screen is what we see every day in our life. Okay, that is the soil, and this is going to be our topic for the day, soil resources or soil resources in India. Now we all know one of the important component on the earth for the life to exist is, along with the presence of water, along with the presence of atmosphere, is also the soil, right? Now how it can be very important component, we are going to see. We know the basic necessity for the life to exist on the earth is the presence of atmosphere. Now in this atmosphere, obviously we are breathing in air and inhale oxygen or utilize oxygen out of it. Now oxygen is generated in the atmosphere through the plants or through the vegetation. Now for this vegetation or the plant life to exist on the earth, soil is very important. It plays a major role, correct? So today's topic we are going to see soil as an important resource, how it is and where it is located, and what type of soil we have in entire our Indian subcontinent. Okay, so we will be discussing now soils in India. Here you can see the picture of the soil and the plants, how they come out when it is nutritious or when it has lot of humus into it, right? So let's begin with the soil resources. Now it is soil, whoever is studying soil in detail or carrying out the studies of how to study or what are the types of soils in India or anywhere on the earth, that particular subject which deals directly with the study of soil is called as pedology. And the process of soil formation on the earth is called as pedogenesis. Okay, now whatever soil we see today on the earth, wherever you live, okay, in that particular place, is not formed within a night or within a day. It takes years together or millions of years together for the formation of the soil, and that is the reason why it becomes a very important resource on the earth. It is one of the best resource, natural resource we have on the earth. Because of the soil, we can cultivate the land. We can have the food grains. Plants, animals can exist on this earth freely or happily or easily. They can survive on this earth, right? So this process of formation of soil, although it takes millions of years, okay, it brings us no time to destroy it. And that is the reason why today entire world is trying to conserve this topsoil, what we have on the surface of the earth. Okay, so now let's begin with the formation of the soil. Have you ever wondered how this soil must have formed on the earth? Yes, because it is easily available, we don't even think about it. Now, the formation of the soil takes, as I said, millions of years, correct? And it forms through this process something called as weathering. Weathering is nothing but we have the earth 70% covered with water, and whatever is left out, the 30%, is in the form of land masses, correct? Now these continents what we have on the earth, imagine if it was just a barren land, okay, there without any soil or topsoil cover, that is the part of the crust, correct? So nothing would have been possible, especially the plant life, and it would have been just a barren planet with water, correct? So now this soil is formed by the process of weathering, that is breaking down of these rocks which are present on the earth's surface. Now obviously nobody can go and break these rocks. We are not doing it. So naturally this process of formation of soil is going on every day, every minute on the earth. Okay, and this happens with the help of natural agents which are there on the earth. For example, water present in the form of oceans, seas, rivers, etc. Air which is surrounding the earth in the form of winds when it moves. This is also responsible for the formation of soil. Also, the difference in the temperature between day and night. In continental or extreme climate type of region, during the daytime temperature increases. Some rocks, they expand, minerals expand, and during the night time they contract. This happens for millions or many years, and in that process, rocks break by peeling off. This is how naturally rocks are breaking. Sometimes rivers just break the rock when waters or glaciers bring this water or rocks down rolling along the speed of the water or along the journey of the river. Naturally rocks are broken. Correct? Now also by the wind or the climatic factor, changing climate through seasons, these rocks break down. They are transported in the form of smaller fragments. Again, these smaller fragments break into smaller sediments, and then in the form of fine silt, what we call it as soil or sand, and it gets deposited along the journey of the river in the riverbed or along the bank of the river. This is how soil is formed on the earth. So, soil is formed by weathering of rocks, by natural agents, and the important factor that helps the formation of the soil is the relief. What is relief? Relief is nothing but the type of topography in one particular area. For example, relief can be of different types. There are mountains, topography, the landforms. There are plateaus. There are flat land surfaces, correct? Or there are valleys. So it depends upon where the process of weathering, whether it is faster in some particular along the slopes of the mountains, it is slow along the plains, correct? So these are the factors which helps the soil formation. Then we have the parent rock. Now what do you mean by parent rock? The parent rock is the original rock which is exposed in one particular area. For example, I'll give you, if we look at the physical divisions of India, within Deccan Plateau, entire plateau is made up of volcanic rocks. This entire plateau is an uplifted land which is formed due to massive volcanic eruption through the solidification of lava, and this rock is called igneous rock, and the name of the rock is basalt, which is a dark black color fine grained rock. Now when this rock will be weathered or is weathered, the black soil is going to generate out of it. So parent rock is very important. Parent rock will decide about the texture, the color, and the type of the soil we are going to get in one particular area. Next is the vegetation. The type of vegetation cover we have. If it's thick vegetation cover, of course, there will be lot of humus which will be getting added into the soil, which will increase the value or nutritious value of the soil. Correct? Next is life forms and time. Life forms is various microorganisms which are there in the soil along with the water content, moisture, and the time is the duration of time taken by the rocks to break and to be transported from one place to another. So this is how soil is formed. That's why it is a very precious natural resource which we need to conserve. Okay, so along with this soil, we have chemical and organic changes also taking place within the soil. Now this is the picture here I have on the screen, which is showing you the same factors, the type of relief, the type of, here you can see example of an rock getting weathered. Okay, and the agent of weathering here is mostly the sea or the water. So you can see the carving in these rocks. Okay, this is because of the soft rock which has been eroded away. Okay, so the minerals which could not withstand this water, like rocks, softer rocks getting broken down into finer. You can see it is eroded, weathered, and here you can see the forms of life within the soil. For example, earthworms, we have microorganisms, we have bacteria, and so on. They also help in the formation of the soil, good soil or dry soil, or whatever type of soil. Vegetation cover in the form of humus. Then we have the parent rock deciding the nature of the soil, and these are the factors. Next, this soil, what we see today as a thin layer of the crust. This is the topmost layer of the crust, which is in the form of loose material. Correct? So it contains organic and inorganic matter such as humus. Organic matter is if there are plants present or vegetation cover, leaves fall, plants break, they fall. Animals living in that particular area, they die, they decompose, they decay, get mixed into the soil. That is the whatever soil we say, top soil, what we can see or what we live on. Okay, and it adds the nutritious value to the soil and creating something called as humus. Organic and inorganic matter is the type of rock fragments or minerals which are there within the soil. Now, soil is a very important resource that supports life on the earth, as I said. Okay, without soil, life cannot prosper on the earth, or the cycle of the life cannot go on smoothly as it has been. Okay, so this layer of the soil, or the soil what we see as the topmost layer on the crust of the earth, although we can lift the soil and see, this is not the soil what you can see. Actually, it has a structured and layered within, inside. So beneath what we see as a loose material, below that underneath, it has a structured layers. That is the entire soil profile, what we call it as soil profile. Students, we have done this soil profile in detail in the previous classes. Okay, and then this soil profile, what we say it as the structured layer of the soil cover on the earth. Okay, and the color of the soil, but the texture of the soil is nothing but it is the type of particles we have or the size of the particles. Then whether it is with moisture or without moisture, dry soil, all these factors or elements of the soil depends upon where they origin. I said with what type of relief, what type of climatic condition, and on the basis of this color, texture, in India, okay, we have divided soil into major categories. Now we all know, as you roam across the world, as you go within the states from other states, okay, entire country, you will be able to observe there are different types of soil you will come across. Somewhere it is black soil, somewhere it is red soil, somewhere it is brown soil, somewhere it is just sand like in Rajasthan along the coastal belt. Correct? So although we call it as total crust or landform, soil types differ. Okay, so let's see the profile, what we call it as soil profile. Here we have learned this earlier also. I'll quickly show you the soil profile. This is called the top layer or the top soil, which we can actually see where we live on, where the plants grow, animals live, right? It has a lot of humus, that decayed matter along with macroorganism living. Beneath that, underneath is the subsoil, where you can see still there is a lot of moisture in the subsoil and still it is fine grain. As you go underneath, below, okay, then there is something called parent rock, where you'll be able, as you dig the ground inside, you must have noticed, as you dig about 1-2 meters, you will get dry soil, or you will start getting the rock pieces. And then still underneath, there will be a huge, if you have seen the well inside, right inside, sometimes when they dig, they don't encounter water table, or they still go deeper, they will sometimes come across a huge rocks, that is the parent or the original rock of the part of the crust, upper part of the crust. Okay, this is how this is called a bedrock. So this is entire section, you can call it as soil profile. Although we see it as loose soil, okay, it has structured layers within or underneath. This is the soil profile, how soil is generated out from the parent rock or from the bed rock. Now, we see soil. We say we need to conserve soil. We need to save the soil because it is very, very important component. Okay, and different types of soil are there in India, and it has different nutritious value. Some places soil is too fertile. Some places like in deserts or loose sand don't have much fertility, or you cannot grow anything, any plants there. Correct? So now the fertility of the soil depends upon amount of moisture content. How much moisture it can retain, how much moisture it can absorb. Finally, to grow plants, it needs some moisture, especially when it is not rainy season. So soil retains the moisture, some type of soil. So how much moisture is there within the soil? Besides the fertility, thickness of its layer for plant growth. Imagine there is a thin soil layer and there is a huge barren rocks. Plants won't be able to survive there because roots have to penetrate down beneath the soil. There should be some subsoil, correct? For them to absorb the nutrients from the ground, to absorb the water from the ground. So, the soil fertility depends upon the layer for the plant growth. There should be that thickness also present within the topsoil. Rich in nutrients like we have nitrogen, phosphorus or potassium present within the soil. This will increase the value of the soil. Organic matter is the most important. Okay, organic matter is whatever plants, animals live and they make when they die. Based on the color, texture and basis of their origin, everywhere in the world and also in India, soils are basically divided into 4 major types. And these major types of soil in India are categorized as follows. First type, we have something called alluvial soil in India. Second is called black soil. The third major category of soil in India is the red soil. And the last one, what we have is the laterite soil. Now, we shall be learning about each soil type in detail. The characteristic of each soil, importance of each type of soil in India, its location, where it is located within Indian subcontinent, and which are the crops which are grown in this type of soil. Okay, so we have the first is the alluvial soil in India. Let's begin with this type of soil. First, what is alluvial soil or why it is called alluvial soil? This is the soil which is widely present in India, especially in the northern plains of India. This alluvial soil is also called as transported soil. And this is the main characteristic of this soil. And remember students, this is the only transported soil in India. Now, how it is transported? Who is transporting it? Transporting meaning from one specific region it comes and it is getting deposited in a certain specific area. This is called transported soil. So, soil is formed by the sediments brought down by the rivers. So, what is the agent of transportation here? Is the rivers. Okay, and depositing fine mud particle in the plains during the course of their journey. Now students, we all know the journey of the river, right? Especially in the northern plains of India, most of the rivers, the main rivers of India like river Indus, river Ganga, river Yamuna, river Brahmaputra, these all rivers begin their journey, or any river in the highland, right? From there, the journey begins. Here the glaciers melt, the river starts along the where it begins its journey. or that is called the starting point or the first stage of the river. It happens along the main steep slopes, correct? Here, this is a very active stage of the river. River is very active. There is high rate of weathering, erosion and transportation taking place here. Rocks break down into smaller fragments. Smaller fragments become smaller rock pieces into smaller sediments, and then smaller sediments turns finally into silt, the finest silt. Correct? This is how in the journey of the river, these sediments are transported from the peak of the mountains, from the slope of the mountains, and finally when river reaches into the middle stage where it enters, especially in the northern plains of India, this silt or sediments gets deposited along the bank of the river or into the river bed. This is how the soil is transported from one place to another, and that is the reason why it is called the transported soil. Okay, so along its journey in the second or middle course of the river where it enters the northern plains or the plain region, it deposits it in the form of fine silt or in the form of sediments, okay, in its journey. So alluvial soil is also called as riverine soil because basically the agent of transportation here, weathering, okay, so rocks are broken down when the glaciers come down, okay, underneath there are rocks also which are getting dragged along with it. So on its way, it will be getting broken down into smaller pieces, and then river is also water, it's also rolling it down. In this process, also rocks will be getting broken, or it will be getting into smaller fragments, correct? So overall, because rivers are transporting or rivers are responsible for its deposition, it is called riverine soil also, okay, which is mainly found in the river basins. And alluvial soil is a mixture of sand, clay, silt, and along with this, together this mixture is referred to as loam. Very, very important. Okay, so this is how the alluvial soil is. You can see the journey of the river, like from the slope of the mountains, the river comes running from the first stage, it enters into the plain region, this is how, and deposits all the sediment. This is how alluvial soil gets deposited along the bank of the river, along the flood plains in the rainy season when river gets flooded, especially all this load which a river is carrying along with the humus, along with the organic matter, along with the broken fragments or pieces of the rock still getting disintegrated, correct? And it will be finally taken along the middle course, and finally this is the third stage of the river where river enters into the sea, where we call it as formation of delta, and at the mouth of the river the finest silt will be deposited here. Okay, so location of the alluvial soil in India, basically we find this alluvial soil throughout India. Even in the peninsular region there is alluvial soil. So basically we are going to see the location. First, major part of alluvial soil is located, it is found in the northern plains of India. I have told you, because of the major river flowing through these plains, okay, and it is called inland alluvial. Inland by the network of the rivers, all river depositing the sea. Brought by the rivers, especially by the rivers, the Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Okay, then we have the deltaic alluvium or delta plains, wherever the rivers meet the sea, wherever there is formation of deltas, especially along the southern rivers, that towards the south in the peninsular region, River Mahanadi, River Godavari and Krishna and Kaveri river. Along this delta region we have a good alluvial soil located. The third is the coastal plains. Now we know in India we have two coastal plains, western coastal plains and eastern coastal plains, correct? Along these coastal plains, due to the tides, during the high tide, water will be getting into the land, and whatever the water is carrying along with it in the form of silt or depositing, it will be depositing along the coastal belts. That is called, this usually happens due to the formation of tides, especially high tides. During this time, this alluvium is getting deposited. Now this is a map which shows clearly the alluvial soil in India. Have a look at it clearly. Okay, so alluvial soil, it is the only transported soil in India. and it is loamy texture. Loamy meaning it has clay, it has sand, it has lot of humus, which makes it very fertile. Okay, so in the northern plains of India, it is called inland alluvium. Take a note of this, especially along the Ganga basin. Coarse texture is the size of the particle of the every minerals present into it, or rock coarse. Okay, it is not very fine, it is coarse, meaning still you have rock fragments or sort of small rocks, because it is along the river, and finally when it ends, the river journey ends, there it will be the finest sand what you see. Okay, rich in potash, very important, alumina and lime, which makes it very rich. Poor in nitrogen and phosphorus. These are the main characteristic of the alluvial soil or the alluvium which you find in the northern plains of India. Okay, now we'll see the deltaic alluvium. Wherever there are deltas, a river meeting the sea. Okay, there you have the formation of the delta along the mouth of the river. There is a lot of deposition happening, because that in the final journey or third stage of the river only deposits, right? It is a very active stage of the river. So in deltaic alluvium type of soil, in deltas, we have soil is very rich in potassium, alumina and lime, and only soil rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. Okay, this is only in the delta region. We have soil which is very rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. And coastal alluvium, we have eastern and the western coast of India. Okay, so the main characteristics of the alluvial soil: deposition of the river bed. It gets deposited along the bank of the river. Okay, in the floodplains. In the upper reaches, soil is coarse. Okay, so in the journey of the river, upper course of the river, because there is still transportation happening, there is still rocks are getting disintegrated, so the size of the rock particle or the rock fragments which are already broken is coarser. As it is transported along the second stage and its third stage, it becomes still finer and finer. That's why it is coarse. What we say is coarse. So each sediment or each grain is of bigger size. As in valleys, soil particles are smaller and uniform. So as you come down along the lower course of the river, it becomes still smaller. Upper Ganga Valley is the type of soil what you get in Upper Ganga Valley, upper part of the Ganga river. Okay, along the first stage of the river, that is very dry, porous, because still coarse grains are very coarse, so it is porous. It can absorb a lot of water. Sandy, and the color also is different, faint yellow, and has clay and organic matter, because it comes from the thick vegetation cover also. So whatever leaves are falling or whatever organic matter it gets, decomposes or gets dissolved into the water, is carried by this river. So it is light and porous. Okay, so again it is very fertile, I told you all, and rich in minerals like potassium, lime, deficient in nitrogen and humus, as I said, and people can grow lot of crops here. Highly cultivable land in soil in India. So this is the picture how alluvial soil looks like. Okay, this is how it is. Okay, there are two types of alluvial soils we have in India. One is called Bhangar soil, one is called Khadar soil. Now Bhangar word itself will tell you something which is very old. Okay, so during the rainy season, when major rivers like river Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra gets flooded, what happens? Bank of the river, there are floodplains. So all the silt, whatever during the rainy season is getting mixed along with the water, dissolved matter or load, it is depositing in the middle course or in the northern plains along the bank of the river. So when the flood plains get deposited fully, that silt is there, okay, along the far away bank or along the upper banks of the river, when it gets flooded, there are still older deposits which are still there. Okay, that is called Bhangar soil. You can see here the Bhangar soil texture and the size of the particles here. They are coarser because they are older. Okay, there is hardly any nutrients available within this soil. Okay, but see the Khadar soil. This is very close to the bank of the river. These are new deposits. Every year new soil is getting deposited. This is called Bhangar soil, which is very, very fertile in nature. So this is very close to the river bank. It is in the, this is how you can differentiate it. Old alluvial soil is Bhangar soil. This is new alluvial soil, is found above the flood levels. It is far away from the course of the river. Okay, above the flood level, is found below the flood level. So very close to the bank of the river. It's full of kankars. Kankars, what you have seen here, very rock fragments or boulders, something like this. Okay, kankars it is called, or the coarse, very nodules, form of nodules. It is formed by the fine sealed clay. So you can see the type of soil here. This is very fine sealed new deposits. It is fresh soil. Okay, and the last point, it is not very fertile. So all the nutrients are washed out because it is there for so many years. For many years, this soil have been eroded or it has been washed off. Okay, by every rainy season. So it is not very fertile, but this soil is very fertile because this is new soil. So usually crops which are grown in this alluvial soil, the main ones are rice, wheat, then sugarcane, cotton, tobacco, gram and oil seeds. Remember, this is very important. Crops will be asked to name in the exams. So this is all about the alluvial soil. Now we'll see the black soil. Okay. The second category of the soil what we have in India is called black soil. The name itself will tell you the color of the soil decides the name for the soil, black soil. And this is usually black in color and also known as regur or black cotton soil. Okay, now this is usually present along the Deccan Plateau. Now I have told you all already, Deccan Plateau is an entirely uplifted land which is formed from the volcanic eruption, and then after the solidification of the lava, the rock which is formed here is a basalt, which is dark black in color, which is very fine grain. Now out of these, when after weathering, transportation, disintegration of the rocks, the soil which is generated is obviously black in color, and that is what we have, the black soil, which is also residual. It is also called as residual soil. Residual meaning after washing away all the nutrients, whatever is left over in that particular topography, the Deccan Plateau, that's called residual soil. What is left out or what is remained after taking away the soft material. Okay, and it is formed by denudation of the volcanic rocks. I said basalt is a volcanic igneous rock. Okay, denudation after weathering or after transportation, it is formed from the lava, or it is also known as lava soil. So remember, black soil is also called regur soil. It is also called black cotton soil. It is also called residual soil, or also called lava soil. Very, very important. Okay, this is how black soil looks like. Okay, fine grain. See the color, and it has this special characteristic, you know, like it has a lot of moisture retentive capacity. It can hold a lot of moisture being loose. Okay, but it in the rainy season it soaks the water because of the high water retention capacity. At the same time, in the extreme season, like in the extreme summer season, there will be a lot of water given out through evaporation, and lines tends to crack. What we call it as broken grounds is very commonly found in black soil type of soil. Now, distribution of black soil in India. Mainly you can see this portion here, mainly in parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, MP, Rajasthan, Gujarat, not entirely, the parts we can see are exposed, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh and parts of Tamil Nadu. Okay, this is the location of the black soil in India. Characteristic of the black soil, it is very fine grain, textured, as I showed you, clay in nature, a lot of clay, that's why it has a lot of moisture retention, it can absorb water, very rich in lime, iron and magnesium. Very important characteristic, but poor in phosphorus, nitrogen and organic matter. It doesn't have much of the organic matter because we know Deccan Plateau, it is a igneous hard rock, correct? So vegetation cover or whatever is not getting mixed into the soil organic matter, it becomes poor in organic matter. It is black in color due to basalt, that is the color of the original rock, parent rock. Very clayey, water retentive, it can absorb lot of moisture or water, suitable for exclusively it is used for cotton plantation. That's why we can see cotton is widely grown wherever there is black soil in Maharashtra especially and other regions. Moisture stored in its subsoil, the next layer. After the topsoil also, in the subsoil of black soil, there will be lot of moisture present. So crops which are usually grown in black soil are the first one, priorities for cotton, exclusive, cereal, different types, oil seeds, tobacco, sugarcane also. Okay. The next important type of soil we have in India is red soil. From the color, you can identify the soil. As you can see here, red color soil is red soil. Okay. And after alluvial soil, this is the most important soil or widely spread soil in India. This soil is formed basically by prolonged weathering by rainfall. Wherever there is heavy rainfall regions in India, right, or there is good amount of rainfall, this type of soil you'll get to see. And it is wherever there is ancient metamorphic type of rock. We know metamorphic type of rock, how it is formed, correct? It is formed by the recrystallization when rocks undergo high temperature pressure. Okay, again they are recrystallized, and ancient crystalline rock this soil is generated from. Okay. After alluvial soil, as I said, red soil is the second largest group of soil in India. Location of red soil in India, as you can see the red patch here, these are the location. I'll be naming the states. Just have a look at the map of India. Okay, throughout the eastern side or this margin of India or even the northeast side, we have the red soil a lot. Characteristics of the red soil. Soil is red in color, as you know, and this is because of the presence of red, that is the iron oxide. So content of iron is very high in the red soil. It is porous, very loose soil, okay, and aerated, meaning there is a lot of chance for the air to get mixed into the soil up to the topsoil layer. That is called aeration. Generally shallow with pH, and pH level is 6.6 to 8. It is poor in nitrogen, phosphorus, very important, potassium and organic matter. Again, it is not fertile but responds to fertilizers. So if you are cultivating your land, red soil land, you have to add a lot of humus, manure and fertilizers to make it fertile and get good yield out of it. Needs a lot of irrigation also. You have to supply a lot of water for this soil. And ideal because it has no water retention capacity at all, although it is loose. Okay, so you need land has to be irrigated, or soil needs a lot of irrigation. Ideal for dry farming wherever there is less rainfall. Also you can carry on farming depending upon your type of crop you are growing. Also has soluble salts in it. Distribution of red soil, we have seen already the map showing the location. In India, it is mostly in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, southeast of Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Bundelkhand, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Manipur, Telangana and Nagaland. These are the places where you find red soil in abundance. Okay. So this is all about this map shows you the different types of soil. Okay, you can see in the picture. Lateritic soil, that is what we have seen, alluvial soil along this belt, correct? Then we have black soil, then we have red soil here along this belt. Okay, and next we are going to see in detail about the other soil also. So crops which are usually grown in red soil are rice, ragi, tobacco, groundnut and potatoes. Okay, so this is all about the three major soils I have discussed today. I'll be doing the next soil in the next class. Thank you.